From Sugar House in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, this is Poker Night in America. Hello and welcome. I'm Chris Hansen alongside Joe Stapleton tonight on Poker Night in America, and we're proud to bring you the third installment of King of the Hill.
And if you are unfamiliar with our King of the Hill format, we have two tables, both heads up, playing best of three matches. The winners of each table face off in the final for the belt, the cash, and the $50,000 buy-in, which ends up being $200,000 winner take all.
Yeah, there's a lot of cash on the line, and the title. That title belt is currently held by Olivier Busquet, who will face Dan Colman in round one. First, let's check back on the current matchup between 2017 WSOP main event champ Scott Blumstein, who trails 0 games to 1 versus Harvard Brainiac and high-stakes regular Brandon Adams. If you win this one, if you're Brandon Adams, you're going to move on. If you're Scott Blumstein winning this one, we'll have another match. It is a best of 3. That's how it works.
Adams raising, 1,200 with deuces. Blumstein coming out swinging.
38.
Re-raises, 7-4 suited.
Keep in mind also, as we play here today, both players do have reveal cards in front of them. They have 2 opportunities throughout the match that if they want to see what the other player has when they fold, they can use that card, so keep that in mind.
See it for free.
First flop of the day is Jack 7 Ace.
Blumstein's flop bottom pair, but it is not the bottom-est pair. That belongs to Brandon Adams. Scott's going to continue.
3,300 the bet.
Now, Adams knows Scott doesn't have to have an ace to raise, and plenty of the hands that Scott would raise with have missed this flop.
And another raise up to 12,000.
12,000.
Brandon Adams raising right around a quarter of his starting stack. Well, Scott might be dubious of this raise, given that a lot of the hands that would raise this for value probably 3-bet before the flop.
This pot getting significantly large, 31,600 in the middle as we go to the turn. It's a 10 of clubs.
And that's going to make the board pretty dicey for Scott. Hands like King Queen, King 10, Queen 10, and all the hands that semi-bluff raised the flop would have just improved. Improved enough to be beating a 7.
Blumstein checks, so action is now on Brandon Adams. And Brandon bets 14,500.
He's now got over half his chips invested in this pot.
14,000.
I think Scott's probably going to ditch this one. Yep, faster than my high school prom date.
Yes.
And after winning the first game in this best of 3, Brandon Adams picks up right where he left off and wins a big one to get us started here tonight.
Yeah, as soon as the photos were taken, she was gone.
It's not pertinent information, don't worry.
I had a date that left with my best friend at prom, my senior year.
You win.
Yep. I was standing right there, watched it all happen.
So how does your wife feel about you still being upset about this?
Oh, I'm you know, I'm many years of therapy past that. Don't worry. Just an interesting anecdote.
Scott Blumstein with a veritable monster for heads up.
Ace Queen versus Ace 9.
Ace 9 also very strong, just happens to be, well, he was dominated.
Couldn't even get the words out before the 9 comes out on the flop to give Adams the lead.
Domination, reversation. Scott's going to continue here a lot, even though he's got nothing. And a lot of the time, it's going to be the best hand.
2K is the bet on the flop.
Call.
And a call. Eight on the turn.
No longer such a hot board for Scott's hand.
8,500 the bet.
8,500.
He's got some good rivers he can hit, but his chances of improving aren't great. So it makes sense he'd want to take this down with a bet on the turn. And this is a bit of a semi-bluff. There you go.
Good enough to get rid of Brandon. So Scott Blumstein recoups a little of the losses from that first hand. Speaking of losses, now you said Blumstein has lost some weight. How did he do it? Any idea?
Determination, diet, exercise.
Okay. Because I'm not going to lie to you, I could lose a couple of Stapletons. I'm not lying.
I don't think Scott has had a carb since this was filmed.
Oof. Carbs are where the best food is at. I mean, man.
Yeah, nobody ever liked pizza.
Or ice cream. Or a bagel.
Scott Blumstein.
1200.
Or a potato. Oh, potatoes. Who doesn't love a potato?
Scott, please tune out. You're doing fine. Don't listen to Hanson right now.
Pasta. All right, back to the poker.
4000.
Wow, Scott raising King Deuce, or Mount Godwin Austin, as I like to call it, or Chagori. Will you please read a book about mountains, people? And he has run into the Everest of poker hands, pocket aces. It's just been 3-bet. Oh, boy.
Blumstein, is it going to be now or later that I finish you off?
All in.
As long as we're keeping the mountain climbing metaphors going, Scott Blumstein's chips just disappeared into thin air. Bye. Scott Blumstein now at a 3-1 chip disadvantage.
Hey, that's going to happen when you 4-bet into aces.
Yeah, I like the move, but just bad timing.
Why do you like the move, Joe? Why don't you explain to everyone?
I would love to explain it, but you know, bad timing.
Play rake-free daily fantasy sports at fantasydraft.com or download the app from your app store. Use code PNIA and your first week is free.
Continuing on at Sugar House here in Philadelphia, 0 cheesesteaks in play. But we literally could walk like 15 steps from the front door of the poker room and we could have one.
How many of them will $200,000 get you? That's what's up for grabs in this whole King of the Hill fiasco.
Brandon Adams raises to 1,200 with Jack Deuce.
You know, I have no pithy nickname for Jack Deuce, but me and my friends used to say that if you consider playing it, it's time to go home. However, this does not apply to heads up when there are literally no hands you're not supposed to play.
Flops 3, 5, 8. Blinds, by the way, are 2 and 400 right now.
Scott's flopped pretty good here. He's got a pair and some backdoors. It's Adams who's betting.
And a call from Blumstein. Turn is a 6.
So Blumstein up and down now.
And they go check, check on the turn. Keep in mind that game number 1 of this best of 3 already went to Brandon Adams, so we are in game number 2. Blumstein's pair 5s is the best, and he's betting them.
And he's made a small value bet on the river, which is kind of just begging to be raised. Here comes some raisin chips.
Raise.
6,500 is the raise. Was Scott trying to induce this raise? I don't think so, Tim.
Guess that was a bad bet.
Check this out.
Does he call or fold? He folds, but here comes the reveal card. He wants to see what he was up against.
Nice one.
If you don't have the winning hand, you can always use more power.
I have not heard anyone use a home improvement reference in at least a decade.
You're welcome.
Well done.
You're welcome. You
Well
inspire
done.
me. You're my Wilson.
We should try to get Jonathan Taylor Thomas on the show. Think he plays cards?
What a dream. His photo's still in my locker.
Blumstein raises to 1,400 with 6-3. Adams just calls with ace-9 suited.
Smooth call for a smooth operator.
Hiding in the weeds. Flop is king high.
Blumstein's got a pair of 6s. Checks it. Nice turn for Adams, though it does put a potential flush draw out there.
Brandon takes the lead on the turn, and he's going to grab the lead in betting 2,600.
Potential 4-card flush draw, I should say. Adams betting for value and protection. Another diamond would be no bueno for him.
And a call. Deuce on the river. So Adams is going to be first, and he's grabbing chips. That usually indicates a bet, and it is 4,400.
Going for another value bet. I like it.
Just some dumb 9.
Nice read, Scott. Now, will you put your gaming discs where your words hole is? Nope, not this time. But he wants to see it.
Uses the second reveal card. Last time he saw was getting bluffed. This time he sees that, yep, he made the right decision.
That would have been a little weak not to
I don't
jam
think
the
so. I think you're just polar, right? Like,
Look, Brandon's a little cold, but he's not polar. Scott with almost no chips to start this hand.
all in.
All in.
Call.
I have a pair.
All in and
There's
a call.
good.
It's a flip.
All right.
Like a spoiler warning versus a trigger alert.
Now if I
Versus spoiler alert and trigger warning. Ah, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say.
Here comes the flop. 9, 7, 10.
fair flop.
Fours are still ahead. Blumstein needs to have them hold
All right.
to double up and stay alive in this match.
Deuce. There it is.
Fours hold. Like they
Yeah.
always say in Star Trek, double me up, Scotty. Will Scott Blumstein make a miraculous comeback now that he won the tiny double up?
Are you asking me?
No, that's a cliffhanger.
Joe, it's 2019. You can't say that word anymore, man.
Can I say what? What, cliffhanger?
Yes.
Cliffhanger is not a slur. Actually, now that you say it, it does sound pretty offensive. We don't take kindly to you cliffhangers around here.
How would you like to play against the pros on national TV? Download now to play and win. It's absolutely free to play. Welcome back to Poker Night in America and King of the Hill 3, where Scott Blumstein is on the ropes holding just 13 big blinds. King of the Hill here at Sugar House in Philadelphia. You know, Stapes, I kind of have a bad taste in my mouth for Philadelphia. It's not because I had a bad cheesesteak or anything. Vikings, Eagles, Nick Foles, Big Nick, you know. No, you don't, because you don't know anything of
I
sports.
actually don't know anything.
I was just
what you're
speaking
saying.
Mandarin to you,
Yeah.
wasn't I? Yeah.
I understood cheesesteak.
I'm not mad at you, Philadelphia. It's just you did some bad things to my purple. That's all. Real bad things.
Hey, check out this flop for Scott Blumstein, who's in desperate need of some chips. This was a limped pot. Check, check.
Deuce on the turn.
Don't go broke in a limped pot, kid. That's some of the best poker advice I've ever received. Though he could have just stopped at, don't go broke.
2,400 the bet from Brandon Adams.
Isn't it delicious when you flop trips and some idiot starts betting into you? What an idiot. What a dumb idiot over there.
Hey, easy. Come on. We got it.
Does Brandon Adams even know what beats what?
Blumstein calls. His chips are rather limited.
It's a full house on the river for Blumstein.
All in.
Wait, what?
Call.
Brandon, come on.
Oh, that's brutal. Nice hand.
Double me up, Scotty. To bravely go where no people have gone before. One small step for Scott Blumstein.
Well, he's got 14,000 and change in front of him, so he's not out the door yet, but definitely the door is open. You can feel the draft coming in from the pneumonia hole.
Oh, pneumonia hole.
Somebody shut the hole before we all get pneumonia. Your dad never said that?
He would never speak to my mother like that.
Oh, my. Brandon Adams made it 1,800. Scott Blumstein calls.
You're talking about the house.
Yes,
I see.
Flop is 10, Jack, Queen.
Brandon Adams up and down. Blumstein doesn't continuation bet.
Blinds, by the way, are 4 and 800. They are up to that level now. The turn is another Queen.
Scott's pair jack, still the best hand. Looks like he is already in cheap showdown mode. I think this queen is going to be tough to represent, though checking back the flop is sometimes a sign of strength.
3,200 is the bet.
I think a bet's getting called.
He's got the chips now where he doesn't have to get them all in the middle in this situation. He can make the call and hope for something safe on the river.
At this point, I think he's pretty committed.
7 of diamonds comes on the river.
I imagine this goes check, check. It does indeed.
Jack.
So Scott Blumstein wins a small one. He is still a huge dog in this fight.
This is a best-of-3 match, and Brandon Adams has the lead, 1-0.
He's got the lead in the match and the lead right now in chips. Despite 2 double-ups, Scott Blumstein's stack is still shallower than an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Brandon reaching for raising chips. He's got 10-8.
And Jack 5 for Scott.
At least they're suited.
Says every person right before they unnecessarily go broke.
Suited cards are back in now.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Oh, gee.
I read about it on the PO solver.
Flop 7, 3, 4. Look at that.
Fun flop for Scott. Heart draw, straight draw. Not much to write home about for Brandon.
Oh, and really, who's writing home anymore? I mean,
Text home about. This is a pretty fun spot. You can call, you can raise. The good news is you don't have to fold, because folding's boring. Just a call.
ace comes on the turn.
Neither player improves.
So they go check, check. Here comes the river.
Hey, a deuce. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a straight. Scott Blumstein taking his time to come up with the perfect value bet, which is a waste of all of our time because it's not getting called.
Just get on with it, Scott. Let's go.
Scotty doesn't know.
6,400 the bet. Brandon Adams folds it.
So fast.
What'd you have on that queen high board?
A slow and steady climb here for Scott Blumstein, trying not to get eliminated.
I had a 5.
I mean, he's got 50K invested into this. That's a lot of money. King 10 for Brandon Adams to start this hand. So here comes the raise to 1,600.
Scott in the big blind. Can see a flop for just 800 more. Getting 3 to 1.
Okay, fine.
Let's see the flop. Ayo.
No 10s on that flop. A little 10 heavy. Flop is 10, ace 10.
Really, really, really terrible flop for Scott. Although technically he did flop a pair.
The bet is 2,300 from Adams. The winner of the King of the Hill not only wins all of the money, that's $200,000 in cash, but also wins a fancy belt. Not one that holds up pants, but the big gaudy type.
In fact, it'd probably take your pants down.
After a call, the turn comes a 7, so that gives Blumstein now a pair of 7s.
And he is drawing dead.
Did I just call him Blumstein?
Yeah, but he's in bloom.
Sorry about that, Scott. Blumstein. 6,000 the bet from Adams. He's been building that stack back up from nothing, trying to stay alive.
The 7 might be one of the worst cards possible he could have hit on the turn.
He makes the call. Queen on the river.
Well, luckily it wasn't another 7.
Owen.
And that should close things up for Scott Blumstein.
Yeah, I think Scott's going to take a second to daydream about being a hero, making this call, doubling up again, but I think like the rest of us when faced with being a hero, he's eventually going to sit back down and wait for a better spot.
Or for the paramedics to arrive. One or the other.
Right.
It's hard to have a 10.
He's going to be like, yeah, you know what, I think someone else can handle this. This isn't really
This isn't my game.
No.
Are you ever bluffing though, Mr. Adams?
I'd probably just get in the way.
I mean, really, all he's beating here obviously is a bluff. That's it.
Yeah. Oh. He did decide to be a hero. And he is going to die a hero's death. Let this be a lesson to you to never, ever try to be a hero.
Really unlucky in the.
This match is over.
Yeah.
2 wins to nothing. Brandon Adams is moving on to the finals.
Props to Scott Blumstein for fighting hard.
He never threw in the white flag, and not once did he wave the towel. And for a little while there, at the end, it seemed like the kid was going to stage a late game come-from-the-back victory.
Round 1 now will be written in the books. Brandon Adams moves on up to face the winner, where he will face that winner in the next matchup of players. We will preview that heads-up match battle when we return here.
Play rake-free daily fantasy sports at fantasydraft.com or download the app from your app store. Use code PNIA and your first week is free.
Welcome back to Poker Nights in America presents King of the Hill, Part 3.
We just watched Brandon Adams defeat Scott Blumstein 2-0 in the best of 3.
Adams now becomes an interested spectator as he awaits the winner of our next matchup. That's high-stakes tournament crusher and heads-up specialist Dan Colman taking on the current belt holder and king of this here very hill, Olivier Busquet.
Make sure you tune in next time when the action continues here from Sugar House in Philadelphia. Hey, quit writing mean stuff in the comments, guys. I'm just kidding. Everything you write helps us. It's called engagement. Go to town. Also, like and subscribe. But you'll write the mean stuff, too. It's all good.